Have you ever wondered what lies behind the sparkle of the world's most famous jewels? We see their radiance at coronations and weddings, yet every facet holds a story rich with intrigue, love, and power. Today, we will lift the veil of mystery from a treasure that, despite remaining in the shadows, is in no way inferior in its grandeur to the most celebrated tiaras on the planet. In the world of aristocratic heirlooms, the Spencer name is inextricably linked to one truly special tiara. It is the very one that in July of 1981 graced the hair of a young lady, Diana Frances Spencer, as she walked down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral to become the Princess of Wales. This delicate, almost weightless tiara with its floral garlands became a symbol of a fairy tale, the emblem of an entire era. Millions of people around the world know it on sight. But great dynasties like the Spencers, whose roots stretch back 5 centuries into British history, rarely limit themselves to a single treasure. Within their vaults, behind thick steel doors, rest artifacts whose histories are even richer and whose splendor could outshine even the most renowned examples of the jeweler's art. What if I told you that there is another Spencer tiara? One that is older, more majestic, and perhaps holds far more secrets of the royal court. This is the Spencer Honeysuckle Tiara, the true matriarchal crown of the family, whose silent presence has accompanied the most significant events in the history of the British monarchy for nearly 2 centuries. This is not merely an ornament. It is a dynastic chronicle wrought in gold and diamonds. Let us now delve into its history and examine every detail of this forgotten masterpiece. Unlike its more famous sister, the Honeysuckle Tiara stuns not with lightness, but with its monumental architectural beauty. It is a magnificent representative of the high jewelry style of the 19th century, when adornments were meant not just to complement an ensemble, but to declare the status, power, and unshakable position of their owner. At the heart of its design lies a captivating combination of 2 seemingly opposite motifs. On one hand, there is the strict, geometric Greek key motif known as a meander. This continuous line, broken at right angles, symbolizing eternity, infinity, and the unending path of life, creates a powerful, almost architectural frame for the tiara. It is fashioned from gold and entirely encrusted with old-cut diamonds, which upon movement create not a harsh modern sparkle, but a soft, deep shimmer, like the light of 100 candles. But this severity and geometry are softened by the second principal design element, stylized honeysuckle flowers. In the art of jewelry, this flower, also known as the anthemion, is a symbol of devoted love, happiness, and unbreakable bonds. Lush, blossoming clusters, fashioned from large diamonds of various cuts, are organically woven into the meander pattern. The central element of the tiara, the largest honeysuckle flower, crowns the composition, lending it a regal stature. Every petal, every stamen, is crafted with incredible meticulousness, demonstrating the supreme skill of Victorian-era jewelers. But the most remarkable feature of this piece, one that betrays its age and value, is its ability to transform. The honeysuckle tiara is not a single solid piece. It is composed of several separate elements that could be worn in different ways. The central floral motifs could be detached and used as luxurious corsage brooches adorning the bodices of ball gowns. The side elements could be worn as individual hairpins, and when all the parts were joined together, they transformed into a majestic tiara or even a grand Riviere necklace. Such versatility was not merely a whim, but a practical necessity and a hallmark of the highest class of jewelry in the 19th century. The exact date of the tiara's creation and the name of its maker have unfortunately been lost to time. However, the earliest depictions and mentions of it transport us to the very heart of the Victorian court in the 1860s. The first known owner, and possibly the one who commissioned it, was Charlotte Seymour, the 5th Countess Spencer. This lady held a high position at court, serving as a lady-in-waiting to Queen Victoria herself. and it was at one of the decade's most important events that the honeysuckle tiara first entered the lens of history. In March of 1863, all of Great Britain celebrated the wedding of the heir to the throne, Albert Edward, Prince of Wales, and the beautiful Danish princess, Alexandra. It was an event of colossal scale, and attendance demanded a display of all one's familial splendor. In a surviving photograph from this celebration, we see Countess Spencer in full court dress, her head crowned with the honeysuckle tiara in all its glory. On that day, it was not just an adornment, but a part of court protocol, a sign of belonging to the highest circle of the aristocracy close to the monarch. Other images of the Countess have also survived, showing her wearing elements of the tiara as separate brooches, confirming its versatility. After the death of the fifth Countess, the tiara was passed down by inheritance to the next generation of Spencer women, continuing its silent service to the family's renown. But the true golden age for this piece came in the 20th century, when its owner became one of the most significant figures in the family's history, Cynthia, the seventh Countess Spencer. Princess Diana's great-grandmother, Lady Cynthia, was not just an aristocrat, but an influential courtier, holding the post of Lady of the Bedchamber to Queen Elizabeth, the future Queen Mother. This position required her constant presence at the most important state and social events, and the honeysuckle tiara became her faithful companion. The archives have preserved a wealth of evidence for us. Here is the year 1938, a state visit by King George VI and Queen Elizabeth to Paris. This visit held immense political significance against the backdrop of the darkening clouds over Europe. At a grand reception in the Élysée Palace, Lady Cynthia Spencer shines in the honeysuckle tiara, which becomes part of a magnificent demonstration of British power, culture, and the steadfastness of tradition. Let us move to the post-war years. The year is 1950, the presentation at court ceremony, an ancient ritual where young debutantes from aristocratic families were presented to the monarch. Lady Cynthia, as one of the ceremony's hostesses, again chooses the family tiara, symbolizing the continuity of generations. The year is 1951, a state visit by the Danish royal family to Great Britain, and once again, atop Countess Spencer's head, we see the familiar silhouette of the diamond honeysuckle. But the apex in the tiara's history was, without a doubt, the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in 1953. On that historic day, Westminster Abbey was transformed into a veritable ocean of light, reflected from hundreds of tiaras, diadems, and coronets worn by aristocratic women from around the world. And amid this sea of diamonds, the honeysuckle tiara, worn by Lady Cynthia Spencer, held its place of honor, bearing witness to one of the pivotal moments of the 20th century. For the Countess, it was not merely a jewel, but part of her official uniform, a sign of her high status and long years of service to the crown. However, after Lady Cynthia's death in 1972, the tiara's fate takes an unexpected turn. It passes into the collection of her son, John, the 8th Earl Spencer, Diana's father. But the next woman to appear in it publicly would not be his daughter, but his second wife, Raine McCorquodale, Comtesse de Chambron, better known as Princess Diana's stepmother. And this appearance was significant. In July of 1981, on the eve of the wedding of the century, a grand ball was held at Buckingham Palace. The whole of British high society gathered to celebrate Prince Charles and his bride. At this ball, Raine, Countess Spencer, appeared in the majestic honeysuckle tiara. This act was perceived by many as an assertion of her status as the new mistress of the Spencer household, the new Countess. For many, this moment became the last vivid memory of the tiara. After that ball, it seemed to vanish from the public stage for many decades, receding into the shadow of its more famous relative, the one Diana chose for her wedding. A legitimate question arises. Why did Diana, Princess of Wales, never wear this magnificent, historic tiara? The answer most likely lies in the realm of personal preference and symbolism. The honeysuckle tiara, is a monumental, imposing piece bearing the weight of a century of history and strict court etiquette. Diana, with her desire for greater simplicity and an emotional connection with people, preferred the lighter and more romantic Spencer tiara. That tiara was not just a family heirloom, it belonged directly to her father and sisters. It was a symbol of her girlhood home, of her personal story. Perhaps the honeysuckle tiara's association with her stepmother Raine, with whom Diana's relationship was notoriously difficult, also played a role. By choosing the other tiara, Diana subtly but firmly established her own identity. So what became of the honeysuckle tiara after 1981? For many years, it returned to the vaults of the Spencer family's ancestral home, Althorpe. It was not worn to a single formal event. It became a legend, a topic of discussion for connoisseurs and lovers of jewelry. But its obscurity was not to be eternal. Years after Diana's tragic death, her brother Charles, the 9th Earl Spencer, organized a traveling exhibition, Diana, a celebration, dedicated to his sister's life and legacy. And one of the central exhibits of this exhibition, which journeyed around the world, was none other than the honeysuckle tiara. It was a wise decision. By displaying it for all to see, Earl Spencer not only revealed another of his family's treasures to the world, but also underscored the depth and richness of the family history of which Diana was a part. Millions of people were able to see the diamond flowers and Greek meanders up close, to touch a piece of history that was inextricably linked to the princess, even if she herself never wore it. At the conclusion of the exhibition, the honeysuckle tiara once again returned to the vaults of Althorpe. Today, it rests there, in silence and peace, awaiting its moment. It awaits the next Lady Spencer who will deem it worthy for an important occasion. Who will it be? The wife of the current Earl, or perhaps one day, his daughter, Lady Charlotte Diana Spencer. Time will tell. This tiara is not just an assemblage of gold and diamonds with an estimated value in the hundreds of thousands of pounds. Its true worth is intangible. It is a time capsule, holding within it the echoes of Victorian balls, the tension of pre-war diplomacy, the solemnity of a coronation, and the dramas of one of Great Britain's most famous families. It is a silent witness to how eras, fashions, and customs have changed, while family values and pride remained unshakable. Every such heirloom poses a question to us. What is more important, the dazzling brilliance of the stones, or the light of history they reflect? And looking at the honeysuckle tiara, one understands that the two are inseparable. The history of the Spencer family holds other, no less astonishing jewels, each with its own unique destiny. If you would be interested in embarking on a new jewelry journey to uncover their secrets, let us know in the comments. Share your thoughts. Why do you think Diana never wore this tiara? We would love to read your ideas. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new stories about the world's great treasures.